Our team coverage of the chaos at the Capitol continues tonight as the FBI issues a warning telling all 50 states to be prepared for potentially violent protest before President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. The target this time, state capitals. Fox 17 News' Kathleen Jacob is live at our state capitol downtown after questioning leaders about the threat and your safety.
Scott, it's certainly something that we hope we don't see. Our city has already been through so much these past couple of weeks and really this entire year. However, leaders tell me that they're not going to take any chances. They're going to prepare just in case something does happen. By now, we've all seen the videos of chaos and violence at our nation's capital last week. Investigators say some of those participants from right here in our state.
Tennesseans voted overwhelmingly for Trump, even the second time, when he got between 60 and 70% of the vote, especially in the outlying counties. So there's a terrific amount of anger and misunderstanding out there.
And it's that anger and misunderstanding that has the FBI issuing a warning to states to prepare for similar uprisings at our state capitals.
And I don't know the threat environment here in Tennessee. I do know that the Capitol was well guarded, perhaps too well guarded before, when they were incredibly peaceful protesters trying to camp out just on the skirt of the Capitol. Every governor is going to have to make their own decision.
So I reached out to Governor Lee's office to find out if he plans to mobilize the National Guard or take other security measures. A spokesperson for his office responded saying all appropriate steps will be taken to enforce state law. I just had a quick question for you. I also reached out to Tennessee Highway Patrol to find out if they're taking additional measures. They told me they're aware of the FBI's warning and they're taking the necessary steps, but they're not able to talk about the specifics of their plan.
It's so sad that we had to worry about our own citizens attacking our capital when the real threat is actually from abroad. Only the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans liked what they saw on TV.
Preparing for the possibility of violence, but hoping Tennesseans choose to be peaceful. I also spoke to a couple people who live downtown close to the Capitol just to kind of gain a little bit of insight into what people are feeling. And one of those women texted me, and I'll just read this statement because I think it's telling of how a lot of people in Nashville feel. She said, "After watching our courthouse get set on fire during the riots several months back and getting tear gassed while walking my dogs, I'm a little worried about what's going to happen on Inauguration Day. My only hope is that these protesters won't be as destructive as the ones before. It's taken months to clean up the courthouse, public square, and the surrounding area. That being said, I fully trust the Metro Police Department to look out for us and have faith that they'll keep us safe. Hashtag Nashville Strong."
Katie, thank you. Now we begin our coverage of the chaos at the Capitol. A Nashville man behind bars accused of taking part in the deadly riot at the nation's Capitol faced a judge for the first time today. Fox 17 News is learning more about Eric Munchell, the 30-year-old who's now facing federal charges. Court documents also include several pictures of a man the FBI says is Munchell, wearing dark fatigues. You see it here, carrying plastic hand restraints. Investigators say that they used Capitol security video and social media to track him down.
Munchell is among the most viral protesters from last week's riots. Images of him inside the Senate chambers have been widely circulated online. You've probably seen them, giving him the nickname tonight, Zip Tie Guy, because he was holding those zip ties. And as Fox 17 News' Nikki Jenowitz is live downtown tonight to explain, his Nashville neighbors were shocked to learn of his part in this national story happening in our own backyard.
Yes, Eric Munchell, the Nashville man known to many now as a zip tie guy, made his first appearance in federal court today, where he learned that if he's convicted, he could face more than 10 years of prison time and spend more than $250,000 in fines. He's accused of breaking into the U.S. Capitol building last week, not only carrying those plastic zip tie restraints, but also carrying what appeared to be some sort of weapon on his left hip. Now, Munchell, who turned himself into police yesterday, lives at this Bellevue apartment complex. His neighbors say that they heard that he worked at Kid Rock's downtown, but that he had been fired. Really, though, they say they had no idea that someone agents say is so extreme lived next door to them. But given the way the world is right now, they say nothing really surprises them anymore.
If it's marching on the Capitol or bombing downtown Nashville, you never know who lives next door to you anymore, especially in the city. It's sad. It's like people have lost the the idea of what it is to be an American.
And fortunately for neighbors like Lori, they will not have to worry about Munchell, at least for now. He's being detained in jail with plans to have him extradited to D.C. at the very least until his next court hearing, which has been scheduled for 1 week from today. So next Tuesday, that is the day before the inauguration at 9:30 a.m.
Kathleen, thank you. Turning now to the path forward. Our state health department says that this week we're expected to receive another shipment of COVID-19 vaccines. But local doctors worry if the supply is going to meet the demand. Fox 17 News' Harriet Wallace is looking at what exactly is being done to ensure we have enough.
Doctors I talk with say it's tough enough for thousands of Tennesseans to need the vaccine, while half of Tennessee is running out of them. But to make matters worse, they tell me that there is another strain of this virus that could deliver a more aggressive punch to Tennessee. As quickly as Tennessee is getting vaccines, they are flying off the shelves. Tennessee has received thousands of doses, with another expected shipment of 64,000 this week. Already, though, 215,000 Tennesseans have been vaccinated. But there's a problem. Half of Tennessee's counties have run out of the vaccine or are on limited supply. I emailed the state health department last week asking why some counties ran out so quickly and others did not. The next day, I finally got a response saying Tennessee is allotted vaccines according to the state population, not county population, and that more doses are coming. Well, I called and emailed the state health department again today, asking what tracking and accountability measures they have in place to ensure staff handles the vaccines appropriately to avoid any wasted doses, as we've seen in other states, but did not get a response. Dr. David Aronoff, an infectious disease specialist at Vanderbilt, says administration and distribution of the vaccine is more critical now than ever, as Tennessee is seeing the highest number of people hospitalized with COVID than any point in the pandemic.
This pandemic, until it is gone, will continue to exact a very large toll on our health, on our economy, and on our ability to educate the children and students in our state.
And now there's news of a new strain of COVID-19. Dr. Paul Juarez of Meharry Medical College says it packs a heavier punch than the current strain, is more aggressive, and spreads quicker. He worries with the limited supply of vaccines, it will hurt everyone, especially more vulnerable communities like lower income and people of color.
It's really a crucial period for us to get people vaccinated. These next couple of months are going to be very, very difficult.
Now, because the doses are running so short, the state health department says they've had to bump down essential workers like teachers from the priority list, or at least the top of the priority list. Meanwhile, there's some good news. Dr. Juarez says there is another vaccine that's being made. For more information about that vaccine or to register for the trial that's being done in Meharry, you can find that information at fox17.com.